they just got
One of the-
Congress. They're looking for a lot of minorities, so.
And one of the men like that's here with them is a Langston alum,
Mhm.
so he got his Langston tie. Okay.
You guys like stuff. All right, welcome.
We're on.
Today is actually this section is actually very short. We're not gonna be doing much here. To be quite honest, I'm not even gonna assign you any work to this
There's like.
because it's very short, it's very direct. It's gonna be very difficult to divide this up into two classes, so it's so short. Because
I was saying you got 4 people.
Right.
well, everybody should be here, but
They gonna
you
be
know
down.
how
Maybe
everybody.
you should give us extra.
And they're gonna want out missing everything.
Like the extra.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, we'll probably be done it.
What you say?
Yeah, so that's why I gotta record it. So what we're talking about is state and tribal constitutions. And what constitutions basically are, you already know from your US government, is your contract with the people or social. contract. And the state constitutions and tribal constitutions are very similar to the federal constitution. But state constitutions have more of an evolutionary period than the federal constitution. And what I mean by that is that there was the state constitutions or provincial constitution before the national constitution. So let's just look at this from the very beginning. Constitutions of the United States, the different states, the different provincial constitutions were based in natural law. Basically, natural law is the philosophy of understanding the natural needs of humans and how these needs influence human conduct. So basically, we need food, we need shelter, you need security. These are natural needs of human beings. And natural law states that every human being must be able to gather food, must be able to protect themselves, must be able to have shelter, must be able to maintain them. And those laws eventually developed as societies came together, or as you look at the evolution of societies from families to societies to governments to protect those individual things. So when we started over here, let's just say when Europeans came over here, brought some of us over here, and forced some of us who are already here into different colonies, their constitutions or their charters were based off natural law, protecting these basic needs. So when we see the evolution of different constitutions, like the first Virginia Charter, just very simple. Just to make sure that everyone had a place to live, that they were being protected by the king and the court, that everyone has a right to go out into the wilderness to make a living. Then the Massachusetts Compact was created and it expanded upon this. Then the Connecticut colonies came across, and yes, there were colonies in Connecticut. Eventually, they came together and created the Fundamental Orders of Connecticut, which was their constitutions. Then the concessions to the province of Pennsylvania. Before then, the Mayflower Pact, then the Maryland Charter, then the New England Confederation. The reason why there was the New England Confederation, the states that is now comprised of Massachusetts, Maryland, Vermont, Oregon. I think. New York definitely, and I think Pennsylvania was part of this too eventually. But all of this in the upper east coast of the United States are called New England because they were all part of a confederation here. Long before he created the United States. And all the constitutions from these eventually evolved into our federal constitution. And from there, the federal constitution expired because of Article 4 under that constitution. State constitutions came out of that. So, and like I said, this is quick.
Sorry,
It's okay. So current states and tribal constitutions. US Constitution, Article 4, Section 4 says the United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a republican form of government. Shall protect each of them against invasion and on application of the legislator or of the executive. When the legislator cannot be convened against domestic violence. So no matter what happens, even if for some reason a state falls into insurrection, the United States will guarantee that that government of that state will be protected, and that state must have a constitution that reflects this. State constitution is different institutional structure. There are 49 states that have what is called a bicameral legislature. That means two houses. Nebraska is the only state with a unicameral legislature or one house. All states have an executive branch led by a governor, and all states have an independent judicial system established. So if you look at the constitutions of every state, they reflect what you see in the United States Constitution. The major difference of a state constitution compared to a federal constitution is that it's so much longer. I mean, so much longer. And we're going to look at a constitution right now. We're going to look at the Oklahoma Constitution. This right here is the Oklahoma Constitution. The Oklahoma Constitution has over 200 pages. Now think about that. The US federal Constitution, if you put it together in a book, in a regular sized textbook, it would only be about 5 or 6 pages. You do that to Oklahoma Constitution, 200 pages. Go ahead and ask the question. That's a lot. No, it's crazy. So, Article 1 of the Oklahoma Constitution shows how we deal with the federal government, different states. Article 2 is the Bill of Rights of the state of Oklahoma. Article 3 is suffrage or voting. Distribution of powers in Article 4. Article 5, the legislative department. The Texas Constitution has 500 pages. That's why I chose the Oklahoma Constitution.
So how many Nebraska?
I don't know. I think it's pretty damn close to Oklahoma as I remember. Yeah,
Only like. Nebraska is small, like you don't even
it
have.
doesn't matter because remember all these states came up except for Texas during what is called the progressive period. And they put everything in their constitution to make sure to prevent fraud or somebody who tried to take over. And well, Oklahoma, Kansas, Louisiana, Arkansas are some of the most corrupt states. But it didn't stop it. But we only get to Article 5 when we talk about the legislative department. Article 6 is the executive branch. Bless you, dear. Article 7 is the judicial department. Article 8 is how to remove people from office. Article 9 is about corporations. Article 10 is about how we tax people. Tax people a lot in this state. Article 11 is about schools. Article 12 is about homestead and exemptions. If you own land in the state of Oklahoma, please read Article 12. Because if your grandmother or someone has land and been on that land for at least 7 years, they should not be paying state taxes. So if it looks like your grandmother or your mom or somebody been smoking in here, that's all I gotta say. If they've been on that land for 7 years, they're over the age of 65, let them know they should not be paying taxes. We have old people in this state that are paying taxes over the age of 65.
Could they get their money back?
No.
So what would happen? If they-
Oh, they just apply for homestead, you get this certificate that this land's yours until you die. And you don't have to pay taxes in that. But if you've been paying taxes all this time, you ain't getting it. It says right there. You ain't
They
getting
got nothing else to show for it?
it. No, you ain't getting it back. So thank you for the extra tax. Thank you for the extra. Article 13 is about education. 13A is about state system of higher ed, Board of Regents. Article 14 is about banks. We actually have a section on the oath of office. 16 is about public roads and highways. 17 is about counties and how to establish. What about municipal corporations on Article 18? Basically, how to create a town or city. Article 19 is about insurance and stuff. 20 is about manufacturing commerce, public institutions in 21, alien and corporate ownership of lands. This is a hot topic right now because Chinese corporations are buying a lot of land to raise what? Why are Chinese corporations buying a lot of Oklahoma land to raise what?
Bison.
I wish because bison is delicious. But what are they actually?
Weed.
Huh?
Weed.
Yes.
I'm trying to get some weed.
Trying to turn into weed.
The largest producer of marijuana in this state, which is legal to do it municipally, are Chinese ownership. They have more acres of land. Yes, sir.
They still got that girl behind street?
Yes,
That's theirs?
yes.
That's China's?
Yeah, that's Chinese.
What is it?
All the land behind street where they.
How are we trying to-
No, for real, I'm trying to, let me get some of that. Can I get in
They're listed,
business with y'all?
they listed as a corporation of China and now Oklahoma. They have to pay the state taxes and then of course the money goes back home.
They don't care. No, and because it's a corporation, you can bring over illegals.
That's right. That's
Right,
right. We're gonna bring, and they have brought over quite a bit of illegals from China. Yeah, to farm that. They busted a place actually not too far from here about a couple of weeks ago, where there were 500 people out there, basically living under slave conditions. Yeah.
500 people?
Mhm. Well, they were growing their marijuana. They have money, and they have their lands, they have their grow houses, and then they sent it out to their distribution places throughout the state. You can have money out that smoke.
The weed trash though.
Yeah,
So trying to pick a trend.
we actually have Article 23. In our constitution, we have a miscellaneous section.
That's what I'm saying.
That's scary.
Hours of labor,
On public work.
That's right, hours of labor. Child labor. Contributory negligence, personal injury, waiver of rights. We have a section on how you can waive your rights. Salaries, races defined, ooh, this was repealed. But once upon a time, this is how they define different races in this state. Oh, they, not only have they repealed it, they totally scrubbed it.
In
Wow.
1978.
They totally scrubbed it. So we don't even know how they once defined races in this state. They scrubbed it from the record. And they don't want people to know that we once were. Mhm. Constitutional amendments, how to amend this constitution, social security, Medicaid expansion. This section right here was added under the Affordable Care Act. Wildlife conservation, Oklahoma alcohol beverages, which was repealed, became Article 28, alcohol and beverage laws and enforcement.
So is it, well, they're all repealed.
A lot of it has.
So that's
It
all.
eventually became the 28A.
In 2018. Is this where it's saying like you can't serve alcohol on Sundays?
So all that, that's like all the alcohol, it's not as. You know, the license is. Alcohol on. I'm for real, I can sell liquor.
All of that stuff was shit, a lot of those were changed in 2021 because of what?
COVID.
What was changed?
A lot of the alcohol laws and
Oh,
amendments to the
Cause
constitution.
they just made it.
How would they change alcohol? That ain't.
They can leave their house and get some alcohol, so you can deliver it to their house. Some places can stay open on Sunday.
They just changed it where you can be 18 and sell.
Yeah, you order alcohol, order it.
Yes, cause I used to like, they used to say, you know, you couldn't sell it at the age of 18, but
That's right.
now you can.
And then you can have it delivered to your house.
I had to get that.
So did you have to get your license?
Yeah, you had to take a test.
It was like $40 for the license.
For what? Liquor AOD.
I mean, if you were a waiter or a waitress in a
Gotta get your.
restaurant, you had to get a license.
I have one for working at a grocery.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, grocery store.
Like the Hennessy was at a sky high.
I remember it.
Yeah, people were paying like $80 a bottle out here.
They were paying more than that. Article 29, we even have an ethics commission. Official actions of the state and the schedule.
That's it.
That's the Constitution of Oklahoma.
What was that last section?
The schedule.
Oh.
Preamble.
Existing rights and actions and proceedings, laws of the territory, debts and fines. Constitution takes effect and enforced notaries, female persons as notaries. Property and credits, judgments and property.
What does that mean? Females, persons, as notaries?
See if it says the appointments of female persons as notaries, public heretofore made by the governor of Oklahoma and by the United States Court for the Indian Territory and by the judges in said courts are hereby confirmed and made valid. And all official acts of such notary public heretofore performed are hereby validated insofar as the acts of such notaries public. So basically, there was a time in which women wanted to become notary publics. And they were acting in that way and it was not legal. So this made it legal for women to become notary publics.
Okay, what are those?
Notary publics are people who witness your signature and they note that signature and press seal of the state to verify the authenticity of a document.
Okay.
Yeah, basically make a document legal. So you can file it and do anything you want to. So if anything ever happens, if there's a challenge in court, they ask the notary to come forth to state that, yes, these two people were here, they signed it, and here's my logbook to prove that they signed it.
Also, like marriages and stuff like that at a courthouse.
Yes.
And, well, weddings too.
Yes, or any legal document. So say if you guys, had a contract with somebody and you both signed it. I was there, I was the notary public, and I see you both signing it. I logged it, you both signed my logbook, and I put the state seal on that document. That document now is a legal document. So you go off and y'all don't talk about anything for 10 years, and say you file a suit that the pizza sucked. And you're supposed to give you better pizza, but you haven't seen them in 10 years, right? And you're gonna sue them. Well, I didn't make no damn agreement back in the pizza and everything. So what you do, I'm a witness, you call me, it says, hey, we signed this, do you have a copy of the contract? Sure as hell do, and here's the signature, here's my logbook, well, y'all signed it on this day. And then that proof of a legal document. That's what the notary is. Right, yes, sir.
The two most common in California, the reasons for notaries is, like when a parent isn't able to take their kid over to Mexico, they'll sign over the custody over to another guardian, like the grandparent or like a sibling. Or in other cases, like whenever I had to go visit my uncle in prison, I had to get a notary sign saying that, hey, my grandma got permission that I'm under her care when I'm inside the prison.
And you have to do that even here in the. All right, let's see, there's something that I saw here. Ah, yes, religious liberty, polygamous or plural marriages. When we became a state, we had to include this in our constitution. It says perfect toleration of religious sentiment shall be secured. And no inhabitant of the state shall ever be molested in person or property on account of his or her mode of religious worship. And no religious test shall be required for the exercise of civil or political rights. Polygamous or plural marriage are forever prohibited in the state of Oklahoma. Oklahoma, for a short period of time while we were a territory and the first couple of years as a state, we dabbled in what is called polygamous or plural marriage. We allowed it. So you could come to Oklahoma already married from another state and get a couple more wives. We could do that for a few years. But what was also happening, a woman could come to Oklahoma with a husband, come to the state of Oklahoma and marry a few more husbands.
That's what it was.
That's, yes,
That's
that's
what
when the
they-
law really began to change. And also, the US Congress said, you can't become a state until you wipe that out. That was the law. So in order for Oklahoma to become a state, we had to put that in our constitution. No more plural marriage, no more polygamous marriage. So ladies, you couldn't have multiple husbands. Gentlemen, you cannot have multiple husbands. Not in the state of Oklahoma.
Well, damn.
Only one at a time. But if you go to Iran, you can marry for an hour. Huh? You can marry for 2 hours, 8 hours. You know, or all day.
What's the, is the public schools one just saying that we have to have public schools?
Oh, let's see. Provisions shall be made for the establishment and maintenance of a system of public schools, which shall be open to all children of the state and free from sectarian control. And since schools shall always be conducted in English. Get that? Provided that nothing herein shall preclude the teaching of other language in said schools.
So why we learning Spanish
And
Japanese
French.
and and all of that?
You can learn it, but it will be in English first.
What do you mean? How can you put Spanish in English?
Right,
Other
it's
than
already-
translating it?
Because your main language in the public schools will be English.
Yeah, right.
So, question, so with what's his face is trying to do, Stig, with trying to, pay the other schools, charter schools more
Yes,
and stuff like that, wouldn't that kill out public schools? Because you're not giving money to public schools,
well,
and the Constitution, isn't that?
you can, it's not truly constitutional. Nobody's challenged it though,
Why?
charter school. Because that's the hard thing is, people don't wanna take the time to challenge. Because really, charter schools in the state of Oklahoma, yet the legislators allow it. But if you read the Constitution of Oklahoma, you can really get down to it. It's not constitutional. And to have vouchers like that taken away from public schools is totally against the Oklahoma State Constitution. So, but no one challenges it.
How-
That's the problem.
How do you challenge it? Does your representative have to
Well,
challenge it?
no, what we'll do is, when that does occur, if you feel that your school has suffered, your child's education has suffered, that means you have suffered some form of harm. So in order to redress, you can file suit against the state of Oklahoma that they've taken away money from your schools to give it to charter schools, and that's hurt my child. So you have to have a child in school in order to say that my child has been hurt.
What about a sibling?
You can do that, but their parent. Or their guardian. Now, if you're their guardian, you can probably do that. But charter schools, if you really read down into the state constitution, it's not constitutional to do it. But many challenges,
So it's just up in the air right now,
Yeah.
it's not?
pretty much, which is shitty. That's just where it is. Right of suffrage, that means the right of vote. The state shall never enact any law restricting or abridging the right of suffrage on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. Bullshit,
What's that?
talking about slavery. It did. It violated its own constitution. And put in tests for you to take a test in order to vote for a while. The test is that you had to memorize this entire constitution.
So that they're knowledgeable people to vote instead of just people.
That's right. But it wasn't just blacks that they were keeping out, or any specific ethnic group. Anybody who had a certain level of education would be kept out.
Which is what high school is.
Anything below high school,
Do they teach this in high school? Cause I never learned this.
you don't teach this.
Well, now they gotta,
Whoa,
everyone to graduate.
they teach it somewhat in high school in
Yeah, you gotta-
Oklahoma history, but Oklahoma history goes by so quickly, it's only one semester.
It really do.
And then they changed it right after we graduated to where you have to take a citizen test
That's right.
to graduate.
You guys just graduated, you guys just graduated from Oklahoma at the latest in 2022, right? Well, the people who are graduating this year in 2024, they have to take a citizenship test in order to graduate.
We do that, we can't launch.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about Oklahoma, I'm not talking about.
So they would know enough about their country and their state in order to graduate. So in order for you to be a citizen of this country, paperclip, you must take a citizenship test.
That's stupid. How can you know so much if they trying to hide some of the history?
They don't teach it.
Man,
They just want you to know that.
Now, say that,
They be hard to-
listen, I want her to say this again, but I want you to say it out loud. Say that again.
I said that's stupid.
Keep going.
How can you take a test when they trying to hide some of the history?
Thank you. And guess what? Some of that history that is being left out is on the test.
So if you fail it, you gotta repeat to a grade?
Yes.
You don't graduate.
You don't get your diploma until you pass that test.
No laws.
Like, they have certain rules and regulations where they can't teach certain stuff because it made.
Yeah, but it's on test.
But how are we supposed to learn that?
You better ask your parents, you better use Google and study up on it. Because I'm telling you this, what is not on that test. Tulsa massacre is not on the
Is this just in Oklahoma?
test. No,
Oh,
Texas has it like this now.
When?
They're starting 2025.
Oh, it ain't happening.
Arkansas started in 2020. Missouri, I think, started back in 2019.
Oh, so states actually do this.
States are beginning to do it. Florida started back in 2012. Yeah. But eventually, most states will have a citizenship test.
Y'all know, for people who graduate from high school this year, they have to take.
Oh, they have to. You have to.
And they have to have that.
If they don't pass those
we
tests,
had to have
if they
that.
don't pass those tests, they will not get their diplomas
Yeah, they gotta.
at all. Now, what if you have a learning disability?
Don't they get
Yeah.
that? Yeah, they.
No,
You can have like the translator.
They can accommodate people?
they're not an accommodation.
I think that's kind of bullshit, cause what if I'm deaf?
So like, why, is this why the curriculum changes so much in Oklahoma?
Yeah,
Who's over all of that?
the state superintendent. Now, under Joy, it didn't change, but under Mr. Walters, it's been changing quite a bit.
Yeah,
Because he has a certain type of agenda.
is he, okay, to be the state superintendent,
You gotta
like,
get elected to it.
what, like, do you have to be teaching before?
No,
So it's just,
It's
not
pure
bullshit,
political. But yes, in the state of Oklahoma, if you do not pass the Oklahoma citizenship test, you will not receive your diploma. And you have to wait an entire year to take it.
What? That's crazy.
Well,
Over the summer?
Can you click the death penalty?
Uh.
9A.
Yes. The death penalty is in the state constitution. All statutes of this state requiring, authorizing, imposing, or relating to the death penalty are in full force and effect, subject to legislative amendment or repeal by statute, initiative, or referendum. Any method of execution shall be allowed in the state of Oklahoma
It's crazy.
unless prohibited by the United States Constitution. Methods of execution may be designated by the legislator. A sentence of death shall not be reduced on the basis that a method of execution is invalid. In any case in which an execution method is declared invalid, the death sentence shall remain in force until the sentence can be lawfully executed by any valid method. The death penalty provided for under such statutes shall not be deemed to be or to constitute the infliction of cruel or unusual punishments, nor shall such punishments be deemed to be contravene any other provision of this Constitution. Regardless, if a method of killing you is considered wrong and cruel, your sentence won't be commuted back. We'll just find another way that we can kill you.
That's crazy.
That's more humane.
When was the last time we had, the death penalty? Like,
Carried out
yeah,
2 weeks ago.
What?
Yeah,
but I remember the
he
whole,
chose to be shot.
I was gonna say, they might as well just shoot people.
No, he chose to be shot. You can choose your method of death and stuff.
that,
they still have like the gas chamber and stuff?
No, the gas chamber is too dangerous for not only the people they're putting to death, obviously, but for the people who work in it, because what they found out that when you kill people in the gas chamber and when you're removing the body and pressing their lungs. Yeah, and you wind up killing the people who are trying to take your body.
so it's
They
like,
have like, sorry to cut you off, like the protective,
Yeah.
yellow COVID-19 suits, yellow suits.
Yeah, but remember, when we're talking about prisons and we're putting people to death, we're talking about trying to save money too.
yeah.
I mean, but if you're dealing with like, I guess, would you say gas, something?
Doesn't matter.
But they still do injections,
Yeah, they
the,
do lethal injections still.
the chair,
No, it's considered inhumane by the US Constitution.
good.
Yeah.
Well, shooting,
We can, yes, you can still choose to be shot. You can choose to be hanged.
Yeah, oh, okay.
And it's not. So you get to choose, you get to choose.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, the
I feel
hanging
like-
is not inhumane,
What?
hanging is not inhumane?
If it's done right, it snaps your neck instantly.
Yeah, dude.
Oh,
Yeah, but still, that's
yeah,
not
I still feel
inhumane.
like that's kind of like,
So even with,
like that's like something hungry.
Yeah, that's what I'm on, like.
unless,
It's
I
an
mean,
instant
unless someone's
death
trying to
though.
make a statement as well.
Cause
What
what
if
they
they
put
put
in
it
there,
there?
stop you,
What?
yeah, I'm not gonna hang myself, I'm not gonna get, what you just said,
Shot.
work,
Shot.
carbon monoxide, I mean, I'm gonna get shot, like.
Well, when they shoot you, they don't shoot you in the head, they shoot you in the heart.
And it's not instant death,
But
but
that
Not
goes,
instant.
I feel like
Huh?
being shot in the head is back.
When you're shot in the heart, you live for about a
Yeah.
good 10 seconds.
So you'll be like,
So you'll feel that pain.
Because your heart explodes, so. Remember, you still have blood that's still flowing
That's
around.
now, yeah.
I'd rather just die.
So the best way to do it is to put you on the table, hook you up, then they slowly put the anesthetic, which puts you to sleep. Then they give you a paralytic, which will paralyze your body, and then they give you a sodium potassium to kill you.
Oh, so I'm asleep,
Yeah,
I'm already dead, okay,
yeah.
so yeah, that's
So
good, like,
well-
you're in your sleep.
But the homes had problems with that, where the guy is not fully asleep, or the woman that they did this to wasn't fully asleep. And then they put the paralytic, and you could see that she was,
Doing it.
and she was awake. And she wasn't, they really didn't have it right, and then you saw them with the sodium potassium, and you could see that she was in that.
That's environment.
So Oklahoma don't know how to do it right.
Neither did Mississippi, Texas, or a couple of them. If
Okay,
you
that's
don't-
not the best way to do it, then, if nobody know how to do it.
If you don't get the mixture just right, you screw it up. Yes, ma'am.
The lady who was like the first lady to die in Georgia for the election chair, her grandson, I used to go to school with him, and he had brought the movie in,
Uh-huh.
and it was so crazy. Like I was like, oh my
I
god.
think her hair caught on fire.
Yeah, like it was crazy, and we were in middle school, and like I was like, that's really
Yeah, the first woman to die in an electric chair, her hair caught on fire.
yeah. Her name was Lena Baker.
There's one, what is the movie? Not Green Mile.
Oh my god, these give people like.
No, it is Green Mile.
It is Green Mile.
I watched it one time, could never.
Really, you can make a secure enough prison, put it underground, stick people in a hole forever.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
dude,
I don't know how to
you
kill
know.
people right, then what's the point of killing them?
I mean, the best way to handle something like that is to put them in a hole by themselves.
Playing God is just
Let God
not
kill them.
something that I want to do.
No.
It's just not.
The suspension of habeas corpus. Now, the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall never be suspended by the authorities of the state.
What's that?
Your right to trial and your basic rights. But this right here goes against the executive, the governor's right to martial law. Because under martial law, the governor has every right to suspend habeas. Also, under the US Constitution, under martial law or a state of emergency, the President of the United States can suspend habeas. So trust me, if they want to take away your rights, on the state level, the governor can. Federal level, the president can. Imprisonment for debt. Imprisonment for debt is prohibited except for non-payment of fines and penalties imposed for the violation of law. So if you have a fine or a penalty and you owe the state, you better pay it or you go to jail. So that also includes taxes. Let's see, one more, and I'll let y'all go. Actually, I'm one, which one?
Liberty of speech and press,
Liberty of.
22,
22.
section 22.
Every person may freely speak, write, or publish his sentiments on all subjects, being responsible for the abuse of that right. I like that line, being responsible for the abuse of that right. And no law shall be passed to restrain or abridge the liberty of speech or of the press. In all criminal prosecutions for libel, the truth of the matter alleged to be libelous may be given in evidence to the jury. And if it shall appear to the jury that the matter charged as libelous be true and was written or published with good motives for justifiable ends, the party shall.
That was a long.
So that means even if you tell a lie, but for a good reason,
You're fine.
you're gonna be all right.
That's why the media is the way it is.
But under the US Constitution, no. You will.
When does it turn federal?
If it goes, if whatever you write or say is seen in another state.
That's when, oh, so,
So the moment you put it on the internet, you're safe and harbor. You know, safe.
so does that mean you just can't go to another state? Like, if you go to another state, you can get convicted.
Probably depending on their constitution. All right, one last thing right here, I want to show y'all. And this is something we're gonna touch real soon.
State farm. Oh,
It's a big.
that just. Bills. Big bills. They need to update, Lord Jesus, that's not on everything. Can't find nothing. Oh,
Let's see, let's do it this way.
I can look at their bills too. I looked at what's on the, like, Congress.
Come on. Bill tracker.
And like, oh,
Here we go. There's a better site. There's actually a better site.
you can make your own bills and send them in.
There we go. Here are all the bills that are now in session. Let's see, I saw one earlier about
Free airport parking.
that they're changing the rate statute.
You said the rape statute?
Yeah, that a lot of the responsibilities begin to fall back on the woman.
Huh?
It's going back on who? It's on the woman that we get raped.
Just must be bills.
Sexual assault creating the sexual, no, okay, no.
Driving under the influence, creating a qualified DUI, when it's not of the record. Whoa. That,
Schools and paid maternity leave, providing paid maternity leave for employees adopting newborns.
oh,
State government authorizing the establishment of the Oklahoma Aerospace Foundation.
some of these are being heard today.
Eighth grade students to learn about and memorize the preamble to the United States Constitution. This is because you gotta take the citizenship test right here.
Preamble.
See,
Don't-
they
Didn't
got me
we
thinking
used to have to say that in?
I had to learn the preamble in fifth grade, like,
For real?
yeah.
Didn't we have to say so in like morning assemblies? I don't even remember it, to be honest, but.
The president.
The preamble.
Okay, that's about it, the basically.
Yeah,
the
no,
most
we didn't know
serious
we
thing.
We said the Pledge of Allegiance, we said the Oklahoma one, we said,
Yeah, say that. Oklahoma.
oh my gosh, there was three of them we did. It was like, yeah, a lot of we had all like all.
Student teachers directing allocation of funds to provide stipends to student teachers. It's an emergency act,
Why is that an emergency?
because we need teachers.
Yeah.
So.
This is the whole issue, like, it's so bad in Lawton, but like, people that are becoming those emergency certified ones are like trash, they're trash.
Allowing certain entities to issue commercial learner permits for driving. Cancer screening insurance coverage. Oklahoma Use Motor Vehicle Dismantler and Manufacturing Housing Fees, Memorial Highway Designation, Civil Procedure Service of Process, debtor and creditor exemptions, Oklahoma Poultry Waste Applications. Let's see, where is that?
All of these are being passed.
Substance Abuse Services. Bail bondsman, let's see. Where in the hell was that?
If you see like do pass, that means it passed the committee. Now it's on the floor for.
Let's see, constitutional amendment clarifying citizenship requirement for qualified elect. What was? What are they gonna require? Let's see,
Republican.
home sources, something.
And what is this one?
Let's see what it's gonna allow. They're changing the citizenship requirements. First reading, this is one that's come down here, what amendments? There haven't been any amendments to it, versions. Introduced. All right, let's see, be it resolved by the Senate and the House. The Secretary of State shall refer to the people for their approval or rejection as in the manner provided by law. Subject to such exceptions as the legislature may prescribe. Only citizens of the United States who are over the age of 18 years and who are bona fide residents of the states are qualified electors of this state. So this means that those of you who will become or are residents of the state of Oklahoma over the age of 18, you can be electors of the state. That means you can be chosen as an elector for president. No, you can't be president, but you can be an elector to choose the president.
No, I want.
So like, what does that mean? Electorate.
Well, you know, the electoral college.
Right.
So each presidential candidate are assigned certain electors. And once those electors are assigned, when you vote for that person, you see their name on the ballot, but underneath their name, you see the name of each elector. So if you are an elector,
Bless you.
your name would be under that ballot as the person who's gonna vote for this person.
Oh, so basically I can buy outlet districts.
Essentially. The person I'm gonna vote for president in November, this is my endorsement, in my opinion, it's not yours. I'm gonna vote for Robert Kennedy Jr.